Hi everyone, I am Dr. Alison DiBarto Goggin with Little Black Bag Medicine, and today we are talking about coping emotionally, mentally, and physically with everything that we're going through right now, and especially as things start to open back up. How are you going to be able to release the stress, manage everything? Right now, I'm finally so happy to be able to sit out in the sun. If you're watching this, you can see my face is probably real red. I'm sitting in my living room, so the dogs are gonna bark, my kids are gonna come down, my husband's probably gonna come back through the door, and it just feels like chaos. And when I look at my strengths and my enneagrams and everything like that, I'm an introvert. I like alone time. I need space to be able to think and create and write and work on projects. And I have not had that. Every time I sit down to read a book, someone comes in and starts talking to me, or someone comes in and sits down next to me and starts playing a TV show or something on their phone or tab. Like, I am so overwhelmed and so done. And a lot of my friends that I'm talking to right now feel the same way, that self-care has completely gone out the window and it's really just come down to self-soothing and just trying to make ends meet physically and emotionally and maybe go to bed at some point. So it's okay to be stressed. It's okay to feel like that. I understand we are all going through a really, really hard time right now, and there's no break. We might have an end in sight depending on where you live, but we still have that fear. And so later this week, we're going to do a podcast on how to prep yourself to go back into the real world. I know that even when we're surrounded by a lot of people, like your family and your kids, you still feel lonely because you're just not getting a break and we're not seeing new people, and that's really hard too. So really start to look at your self-soothing patterns. Are you drinking a lot more alcohol? Are you binge eating? Are you watching a lot of TV more so than you normally do? Are you staying up too late for what your body needs but might meet your emotional needs? That's okay too. So really start to look at those things, and in some places we just need to give ourselves permission and say that we're in a really hard time right now, and that's okay. So I keep seeing the post. I think I've talked about it in a lot of the isolation podcasts about how we're supposed to hustle harder, and you said that if you would work out more if you had the time, and the quarantine proved that's not true. And really, when we look at like the hierarchy of needs at that very top, when everything else has been fulfilled, that is our space where we can self-actualize and create and be bigger than ourselves and think differently. But right now we're at that base of that pyramid where just our basic needs maybe aren't being met. Food, safety, shelter, water. So many people are worried about running out of food, losing their homes. How are they going to pay rent or their mortgage? A lot of people are running out of toilet paper. And I think just now my husband said that the stores are starting to stock up like normal again. So it's a trying time when you don't feel like your basic needs are being met. So you cannot climb that hierarchy in that pyramid and get all the way to the top and create and work and hustle and start new things if you're not sure exactly where your next meal is going to come from, or if you're going to have a house by May 1st or June 1st. So slow down, give yourself permission to do the self-soothing things that you need, because they are what's going to keep you calm, centered slightly. Now, is it a perfect thing? No. Is it a permanent thing? No. We can go and change and shift once you are safe, secure, stable, you know where you're going with this. So really, how are we going to manage this long-term stress that looks like insomnia, that looks like binging, that looks like despair? It looks like you don't have willpower because you're not working out, you're not doing the right things or everything that you should be doing, and maybe you don't feel motivated, and that depression, anxiety, that overwhelm is sinking in. So when you're feeling these feelings, know that it's okay, it's totally normal, and sit with them for a while. Don't judge them. Try to come into a neutral space. Don't try to stuff them down and put on a brave face for everybody. It's really going to just prolong these emotions and how you're feeling. And when you're feeling this overwhelmed, take a break. sit down. It's really, really hard to focus on all the things that you want to focus at one time with your attention scattered everywhere. And I know Sundays are my day to record my podcast, and I just couldn't think. I couldn't get a minute to myself. The dogs wouldn't start barking. I opened up all the windows, and the neighbors are having a massive pool party again, like they do every week, and it's loud and chaotic. And I had to give myself permission to say, it's not going to happen today. It's just not, and it's okay. And I still don't believe it, but we're working on it, that if I don't get the things done that need to be done, is it the end of the world? Am I going to nobody's going to yell at me, right? I'm not going to get fired or lose anything because I didn't get the things I wanted to get done. So it really does come down to giving yourself permission to feel the things that you want to feel. So like today, I felt the overwhelm. I'm feeling the grief of not being able to be myself, of not being able to create and work and talk to you guys like I really want to. And it's isolating and it's sad. And I had to just sit with it and be sad about it. Obviously, I sat out in the sun and just tried to take some deep breaths in. And once I was able to just sit with it and not be mad, not be sad about my feelings, not try to push through them, the fog kind of lifted, right? I was able to let it go, and some ideas started flowing, even though there was still chaos all around. I always have a journal by me, so I could write and think in the few moments that I have. So when I sit with these feelings, I do like to put my hand on my heart or my hand on my belly, because that's usually where I store a lot of my emotions. I get really tight, my shoulders start to creep up. Sometimes in my throat, but usually in my heart, and usually tightness in my belly. So that holding that point reminds me to breathe in to that area of my body. So instead of breathing with my shoulders up and down and just breathing really shallow, I like to remember to breathe deeply into my belly. And this is all about calming the nervous system. So I like to breathe deep. Some people, and I recommend this for people with great voices, but not for myself, I do recommend humming, toning, and just allowing an audible release, because that audible release calms down the vagus nerve, which interacts with our brain, our entire body, and our gut health. So when we're stressed, it does tend to shut down and get overwhelmed. And when we tone and when we talk or when we sing or when you cry audibly, it's a release for that vagus to really turn on and calm down the entire nervous system. So deep breathing, belly breathing, hand on your heart, humming, sitting with your emotions. And I love the Strength Finders. It's something that I've been diving into again. You might like human design. You might like astrology. You might like, did I say enneagrams? There's so many different things, personality tests that you can look at. And when I started learning about Strength Finders and really broke it down, and being a person who's creative, a thinker, a learner, I realized that I'm getting stressed because I don't have that space to do what I need to do. I was talking with another friend who said she was starting to shut down because she hasn't seen anybody or talked to other people face to face, and she's such a social person, and she misses having her business and people coming in and out, and that has been weighing on her emotionally. So when we can start breaking down what are we missing, you can find little ways to give that to yourself. And again, it's not perfect, it's not great. A Zoom meeting's not going to beat giving your best friends a hug in real life, but it's going to give you that little piece of it. So take a look at a personality chart or test or something if you're not sure of what you're missing, if you just feel like hopeless and despair and you don't know what's going to fix it. That can start to give you little pieces of the puzzle and little bits of insight. And physical. On Tuesday, we're going to have a free emotions, stress, and sleep support class. It's on Zoom, so I'll post the link to that as well. It will be recorded, so you can check it out if you're catching this podcast later. But when you just start, which is the hardest part, right? Working out, not on many people's minds, I should say. Don't sit and try and think of something grand to do. Like, I have an hour, I'm gonna do this whole weightlifting workout. No. Just get through the workout, the warm up, I should say. Just get the warm up and see how it goes. Don't plan anything big. And then after the warm up, see how you feel. Just start moving. Just start by stretching. And as you get loosened up, your perspective might change, your energy might change, and it might not, and that's okay. And you can save it for a different day when your body is prepared physically, but also your nervous system is prepared, as well as your adrenals, your health, your nutrition, things like that. So just start with the warm-up. Don't expect anything big, and focus on figuring out what you feel like you're missing the most and how can you give that to yourself in a little ways every day. So I hope to see you at our Tuesday class, or catch the recording so you can learn a little bit more about essential oils, nutrition, managing stress, sleep, and all of those other things. And thank you for being here. We'll see you next week.